Hi, I'm Gene with Gene's Woodworks, and today I want to show you a jig that I came up with to make floating tennons using my Festool Domino. I am actually using through dominoes on the drawer side, so it'll actually go through. I've got the mahogany sapele dominoes that'll go in it, so you'll see it on the end. But the jig that I came up with works really well. It's using the Microjig Matchfit dovetail clamps. So I've already gone through and pre-marked all my boards, so they're an even spacing. So this will be obviously the side. So I get it flush with my jig, clamp it in place. So you can see it's perfect alignment for the through dominoes. And then I'm going to finish up these drawer sides, and then we'll jump to the fronts and backs, and I'll show you how I cut those and how I set that up, still using the Microjig dovetail clamps on my table. And then I'll show you that, and then I'll show you some assembly. This system makes it really simple to make drawers. Okay, now that we have all the drawer sides cut, I've got the domino cut in here. And by the way, I'm using the 5mm dominoes, the 5x30. So what I did was I set the domino cutter to 15mm so it would cut all the way through. And then for cutting the mortise in the drawer sides, or the front and back rather, I used, still went 20mm so it would go all the way in. So that gives me a lot of room for the glue pressure, and then I can get it almost flush. And then once it sets up, then I can sand it completely flush. And then what you're going to see is the mahogany showing through, which I'll show you at the end. So I've got most of these already cut, so what I'm going to do is cut the last couple of drawer fronts and backs and show you how easy that works. So that got the mortise cut in the front and back on this one. And a couple of things I want to mention, point out that using the dovetail table for the Microjig clamps works really well for holding these. I took one of the Husky tables, adjustable rolling table, adjust for the height, and I cut the dovetail slots in it so I can, makes a great work surface. I've got my jig set up when I was doing the drawer fronts and or sides, and got this all set up. But one thing I want you to hope you notice that all the instructions and everything that I've seen and learned when using the Festool Domino cutter is not to just grab it here and shove it in. You can create a little bit more lift that way. So when you're doing it, if you hold it just at the back, like where the plug is, and then it gives you a little bit slower movement, and you're less likely to rock the domino cutter. So I'm going to finish these up, and then we'll get to the next set, and I'll show you how they all go together. Okay, now that we have all of the cuts, the tennons, or the mortises cut in all the drawer fronts and backs and in the sides, now it's time for assembly. So what I wanted to show you is what I found to be the easiest way to assemble them. Of course, there's, like anything, there's 1,000 ways to do it. But what I found is simplest to just put the tap the domino into the slot, just till it protrudes just past the drawer side. And once again, these are through tennons, or in this case through dominoes. And then I do the same thing for the other side. And last one. Okay, all of them are protruding through. So then I take one of the sides, make sure to line up my slot, make sure I'm going the right direction. And then I take some of the, I use Titebond 3 for a lot of my projects because I make a lot of cutting boards and outdoor projects, so I just find that it's easier just to buy everything, use one for everything. And then put glue in your slots. And then while it's elevated, I take glue using a silicone brush, and I just brush it onto the domino. Then I can take the board, and because it's protruding through, it kind of self lines up. And I tap it in so it's just a little bit proud. Wipe off the excess, and do the same for the other side. And because I have my reference marks, I just want to make sure that I'm lining up correctly, which I am. And you don't want to put too much glue in the slot for the domino because a hydraulic pressure will, can cause a blowout. Especially because using 1/2-inch material, you don't want to have it protruding through or busting through due to the hydraulic pressure. I'll line that up. We'll glue on the outside. Alright, we got that done. We do the same thing to the other side. Now, one thing I did with cutting these, if you're familiar with the Festool Domino cutter, you can change the settings so it gives it a little bit wider, so you get a little bit more slop, so it gives you a little bit more freedom with alignment, so that way if things don't line up just right, and because these being drawers, I wanted them to be, flush and have a little bit of room to work with on the top, so I cut the slot that's in the side a little bit oversized, and then I just take the same thing, go ahead and drive them in. sure they protrude through just a little bit. And the reason I chose the mahogany as opposed to just using the standard birch is I wanted a little bit of the contrast, so it accents the joint instead of just kind of hiding it. But you can see it's a really tight fit on the outside piece, and that's what you see. So I did not elongate the hole. I chose for the standard setting. So then I just put this in place. Line up my slots, my little tabs where it's protruding through. And then brush a little glue on the domino that's sticking out before I drive it in. Once this is all done and set up and clamped and everything, I'll sand a little bit of protrusion off so it's just flush. Okay, I clean that up. Wipe off just a lot of the squeeze out. Then, because I did the elongated joint slot, I can take my, clean up the, scrape off the excess. Now, one thing that I did that a lot of people don't do, I kind of like it, is I went through and cut the 1/4 inch slot for dado off of the bottom for the drawer so I can slide the panel in after all this is glued up. And I can slide it in and then tack it in the back. And then, and I know everybody's got their opinion on how to do it. I like doing it this way. I saw years ago Norm Abram do it, and that was how he made his drawer, so I kind of just stuck with it and did it that way. And then we can clamp this up so everything's good and flush. And then you can see here's one that I've already glued up the set, so it just needs to be sanded and that'll be smooth, but you can see how nice the joints look. So this would be the drawer front. And so when you pull the drawer out, that's the joint that you're seeing. That's why I use the mahogany to just really accent the joint. But I hope, so I'm going to glue this up or clamp this up, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it made some sense, and I hope it makes it a little bit easier for assembling the drawers, but it's a really quick, easy process. It's a good, strong joint, and please comment and like and follow me. Thank you.